Wedding photographers, planners, etc. What's your biggest "this marriage isn't gonna last" story? Photographer here. I've seen some things, let me tell you. 1. Christmas time wedding. Groom's family decides they hate the bride's family during the reception. There was a lot of barefoot dancing going on at the time, so the groom's family took the glass Christmas ornaments that were the wedding favors off the tables and threw them on the dance floor. Of course they shattered and everyone got their feet cut up. This couple had been together for 5 years before getting engaged. The bride got served divorce papers less than 6 months after the wedding. She was stunned and had no idea her husband wanted a divorce. The whole thing was so freaking sad. I think about her a lot still. 2. Bride punched out her sister-in-law at the wedding reception. They spent the rest of the evening hurtling random insults at each other throughout the wedding events. Since the wedding was at a remote campground, the sister-in-law did not leave. I photographed a wedding and I was working with the groomsmen and groom. It was after the ceremony and the bride went off to go fix her makeup. I was probably about 70% done with the men photos when the bride starts screaming and crying, asking why she isn't in any of them. I explained that this was the guys' shots and that the bride and bridesmaid shots were up next. She did not like that answer. She demanded that she be in their shots too. These kind of photos were the ones where the groomsmen are doing the goody things with the groom. She then proceeds to take my camera and throw it on the ground, shattering the lens. She then cries harder and the groom just walks away. I was so petrified. Rest in peace, Canon 6D, you will always be missed. I went to deliver a cake, and met the wedding planner, looking completely frazzled. I've worked with the woman a lot and we're good work friends at this point, even though we're technically in different fields. She always has her shit together, so I asked her what was wrong. She tells me the groom's boyfriend showed up to confess to the bride that he'd been with the groom longer than she had and they were in love, but the groom got to him first. They were currently sobbing in the groom's suite, telling each other they loved one another, and the groom saying he'd never love her like he loved him. She was running interference and trying to keep the bride happy and the mothers both out so those two could figure their shit out before she had to destroy any relationships, especially because she got the impression no one knew the groom was gay and they were on the down low, super religious hipstery types. The wedding, somehow, went on. I saw a few pictures, since the bride included them on her review of my bakery. Groom looks miserable while she looks radiant and happy. The wedding planner told me about a year ago that she got a call from the groom's boyfriend to arrange his wedding and he was marrying another dude who basically worshipped him, which brought up the first couple, who didn't even manage a year, judging from bride's Facebook. Shocking, I know. My older brother is gay. He is not the relationship type. I have met lots of his hook ups but only one boyfriend. This time it appeared to be the real deal. They had lived together for 2 years and they seemed happy. One day, ex-brother-in-law, let's call him F for the sake of the story, left for a work trip and never returned. He called my brother and broke up with him, just out of the blue, no explanation. Weeks later, a friend, and her new boyfriend, let's call him RR, went to my brother's house to have a chat and have some wine. My brother told them he was pretty much devastated and he didn't understand what had happened. During the evening, R asked to use my brother's bathroom and disappeared for a while. They went to check on him and found R crying in one room holding a picture of my brother and F. He then asked, "Is this F?" And my brother said yes. Then this guy proceeded to tell my brother that F was the longtime boyfriend of his sister. They were high school sweethearts and they were getting married soon. I don't remember exactly when, but it was like a couple of weeks later. They had everything already planned. They lived in another city. My brother was shocked. They had been living together for so long, he didn't have any suspicious of infidelity. F did a lot of work trips but they were in contact constantly. He didn't notice anything strange. No calls outside family and friends, nothing. My brother honestly has no idea how F managed to pull this off. Anyways, of course after that discovery, R told everything to his sister and the engagement was over. To this day, F remains friend with my brother and he has told him many times how grateful he is that he was caught, because he felt he wouldn't have been able to come out by himself. I feel so bad for my brother and that poor bride-to-be. But I think this was for the best for everyone involved. Honestly, I have so many gay friends that hang out with straight guys that are often in very committed relationships with women, it's really appalling. So many men living double lives. It's sad. I'm wedding video editor. As I'm going through the footage for this one job years ago, it got weirder and weirder. The cameraman asked the groomsmen to say something about the couple while they were getting ready. They each seemed really uncomfortable with awkward smiles. They took turns wishing him luck and providing some cliché advice. Then he asked the groom how he felt. The groom's response was also strange. The cameraman asked, "Are you excited? How do you feel?" He smiled awkwardly and said good. His body language said he didn't want to be there at all. The groomsman patted him on the shoulder in support, but it had more of an "I'm so sorry, bud" vibe. During the ceremony their kiss was a brief peck. It was a long time ago so it's hard to remember, but it may have even been on the cheek. They had their reception in a very fancy, well-known, expensive hall. The room was 2 stories and huge with marble columns. Could have easily fit 300 plus people, but there was less than 100 guests, which made it look strangely empty. There was no fun party vibe for the majority of the reception. The mood was more like an 8th grade dance. The dancing was the most awkward part. During the first dance they kept as far apart as possible while holding each other's shoulders. Both looked like they were being forced to be near each other. Later the groom was dancing with his friends and the bride was dancing with hers. At one part the bride and her friends made what I can only describe as a grinding line. Clearly she had no problems being close to and grinding up on her friends. Then someone physically grabbed the groom and pulled him over to the bride. This guest pushed the two of them together and they repelled each other like magnets. They were so uncomfortable near each other. They didn't know how to interact. It was so bizarre. My ultimate guess was that they were both gay and agreed to get married to each other to appease their families or whomever. Or it was an arranged marriage of sorts, though from the interviews it didn't seem that was the case. Either way, I felt kinda bad. I wonder what ended up happening to them. Please like, comment, and subscribe.